Yo, what's good? It's your boy DJ Babikahan. We back at it again. Homegirl, what did we watch?
So, what we did just do is eat Jack in the Box. But we went to a drive-in movie for the first time.
Yeah.
For the first time in Alameda, and we watched Wonder Woman, 1984.
It was a drive-in theater, and it was
interesting.
It was alright. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, so I had prepared and brought made snacks and stuff, and I tried to download apps because I know that it's through a radio.
Yeah, that's how we get the audio.
But we realized that cell phones they don't receive radio transmissions.
Not really.
Especially close range ones like that. So we had to use my car.
Yep.
And we just started it every 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so. So because I was concerned that my car wouldn't start up again, but it did. And it was good.
There were people whose cars that needed to be jump started.
Yeah.
Because they weren't smart like us. We started our car every half hour or so.
Every car is different.
They just weren't smart like us.
No, don't do that. Don't be like that.
No, we know better.
Okay,
some people just don't know better.
Okay,
we knew better.
Well, I don't want it to come out across like that. It's just that's what we learned. And
okay.
Yeah.
You feeling positive because of the power of positivity that Wonder Woman
that grants wishes.
Okay, so the movie now. Getting to it. First impressions. There's.
Are we going spoiler free first?
Let's just keep it spoiler free. It's fine.
Okay. Honestly, it's been a while since we've done one of these.
I know.
So I have to remember how to do that, but I think we'll get through it.
Yeah.
I know.
Spoiler free.
It's the first time we've watched movies outside of our apartment. So.
Yeah.
And it just because I follow them on social media, so I always see the movies they post. But this was
I don't even remember what's the last movie we watched in a theater.
Joker.
Really? Oh.
The first, but this was one of the first movies that they've done that's a movie that's come out. Usually they've done they showed Elf or The Grinch over Christmas. So I think most of it is just it was just fun to be out and to watch it in a different kind of setting, in a different kind of experience. I don't know, but
about the movie, though.
I know, which is to say that the movie was maybe if I had a different experience viewing it, then I would have a different opinion. But it was just kind of all right. It wasn't. I don't know. I was well, watch this person turns heel, and it was already kind of I kind of got what was gonna happen.
Well, excuse me, but you were telling me you were cheering up a little bit here and there.
I was. What was I cheering up for?
Well, some of them are spoilers. But...
Oh, okay. When it was yeah. Got it. Yeah, it was
there's it's not a spoiler that Chris Pine is in the movie.
Yeah.
It is.
And I was how are they putting him in here because of how his character ended in the last movie?
Sure, but
so they answered that, but it was just kind of far fetched.
I don't know.
So then it's so does that mean that if other? I think it wouldn't be part. So a big part of the plot that doesn't necessarily mean it's a spoiler is the idea of wishes and having your wish granted, and so she wishes for Chris Pine's character to be back.
Sure.
And so then it's so were there other people out there that wished a similar thing, and it's I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but that's it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't as compelling to me. The fear of the problem.
Okay.
And I think
there wasn't. I think there wasn't some big physical obstacle. There was no it wasn't like action heavy. It was very more like philosophical. That was the real battle, was the philosophical nature of the
Yeah.
story. But let me say some of the things that I thought was very cool.
Okay.
I thought that the movie was very reminiscent of, like, because it's set in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a spoiler because it's called Wonder Woman 84.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like very similar to like the superhero movies of the 80s, like the Superman films,
Okay.
where,
I don't know that, but sure.
well, it's very like,
It's kind of simpler. Like,
yeah, it's like this superhero is like this idealistic
yeah,
like
okay. That's
image of
interesting.
virtue.
Well,
And
and also,
even like the sequence in the beginning in the mall where she's like saving the kids, and the kids are like, wow, it was like a very 1980s style superhero
and
film.
also, like, at this point, well, with like the track record of superhero movies that have come out in the past couple of years, we're kind of conditioned for like the envelope to continually be pushed and like over
Sure.
the top, just everything, like bigger issues, bigger villains, and this one was just kind of smaller, and it kind of,
Yeah.
like, you kind of like shifted your focus. And I think also, like, I think the perspective on the movie is also influenced by like where we are as a society now. Like the whole idea that you watch something and you're like, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's social distancing, and like it's set in the 80s, and it touches on things and that happened in, well, sort of things that happened in the 80s, and it's like,
yeah, I was like, this is a true story. All these things that happened in the 80s
and it's
was
like
caused by this.
and so it's just like, look at it now, like we're 30 years past the 80s, and it's like there's more to it.
Yeah.
Like, we know, like, it's like, wait till y'all see 2020. Like, what you gonna do about that Wonder Woman?
I think it's fascinating though when they do something like that, where it's kind of like parallel history, reality. You know why? Because the like similar to like your criticism, where it's like this outlandish, silly fantasy type story where you get something that grants you the wish, but it's like, but see, when you look at like what actually happened in history, and like all these catastrophic terrible things that happened because somebody because somebody wanted something out of like maybe greed, or in the turmoil that happened in the Middle East in the 80s, in like, what was it, Lebanon and all that stuff. I'm not that big of a historian, but there's a lot of natural world events that happened in the 80s that were really significant. Ronald Reagan and the Cold War, and what were some other things? Just like the corporate, like the
Berlin Wall.
Yeah, sure, that stuff. Like the fact that they touch on a lot of these things that happen. Oh, the Irish, the troubles in Ireland or whatever. So, like, I think when you see that, and you see things that really happen. What's another movie that does that? But they take things that really happen and they give you like this alternate story that happens parallel to those events. And so you initially think it's like this crazy outlandish fantasy film, but then you see these things that actually really happened, and then it kind of like grounds it and makes it a little more believable, like, oh, but I can't think of another movie that did that. I know, like, I know there's films that
Is it like movies that have like presidents in them and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, these types of things, they happen a lot. So, like the show Hunters on Amazon. I know you didn't watch it, but they talk about like it was like this parallel story as to why that there was this huge blackout in the 70s, in the late 70s in New York. And they talked about that in like the hip hop documentary that I was watching. It was like the blackout where people were rioting and looting and stuff like that because, but I'm just saying it's interesting when when you tell a story that happens parallel to real occurrences, real events. Okay, what are some things that you did or did not like about it?
It
I
didn't
like Kristen Wiig. I think she did a good job.
Yeah, it didn't suck. I didn't think it sucked. I just didn't think it was like amazing.
What do you think about the comments that people are saying, like, this is the type of film we need right now? It's a film about hope and like positivity and like how we can be better as people.
I guess. Yeah,
You're
I
so
know.
cynical.
Well, and I was saying that when we were watching it, I was like, come on, like, I was like, based on the way we've seen people react to the pandemic, like, there's no way, like, I don't trust people reacting the same way. Like, we've seen people be selfish.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's like, people are gonna be selfish back then too, so it's not problem solved. Like,
yeah, people suck, man. That's the whole thing about the movie. It's like, can people be better? And Wonder Woman wants to encourage us to think that we can be better. We can think less about ourselves and more about like what we have, and being thankful for that, you know. And I think, hey,
sure, I mean, we can do that all we can, but like, and like, yeah, like we hope that like our goodness will like spur on goodness from others, but and as much as we wish that was like instantaneous, like it doesn't. It's not. Everyone does what they do. That does what they does. So.
guess you're right.
Yeah. I was also thinking if you wanted to like check-in vlog, but we can make that a separate video, or do it sometime later because it's the day after Christmas, so we've experienced quite a bit of things. But yeah.
Okay.
It's good that we were able to do an actual movie review for an actual movie that came out that was spoiler free, and we enjoyed our movie watching experience. Hopefully we can do it again, and
How many?
maybe get equipment so we could. I don't have to use my car.
Yeah.
I just need a radio.
How many female empowerment fists out of 10?
There were no female empowerment fists.
No, how many would you give? How many female empowerment fists out of 10 would you give
7.
Wonder Woman? Okay. I'll give it an 8.
Okay. So 7.5.
7.5 on average. 7.5,
Cool.
which is usually our average rating.
Well, this one is. I mean, I think it's pretty accurate. Like it was decent. It didn't suck.
I would want to see it again. I definitely would want to see it again, like on like a bigger or a closer screen, I guess, with, you know, and good on a good TV and stuff like that.
But that was still fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend watching it. As far as like DC Universe building, doesn't really do any of that at all, which I'm okay with. It's not. That's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know what they're planning on doing with the DC Universe. They're doing another Aquaman.
Weren't they gonna do Batman with Robert Pattinson?
They are doing a Batman, yeah, some dark Batman, but I don't know if that's like, that would be cool if they like did the DC Universe in the 90s and they use like Robert Pattinson as Batman and Wonder Woman in the 90s, you know. But then again, like, how does that make sense? How does that make sense when Wonder Woman meets Ben Affleck Batman, like, in the 2000s? And Batman v Superman, like they made for the first time, so.
Well, I mean, we know that off topic, the Spider-Man, they're getting everybody.
Yeah, but that's because they have like the multiverse and stuff like that.
But
Spider-Verse.
Anyways, there you go. Movie review.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, love you. Bye. Say I love you.
All right, guys. You can follow me on twitch.tv/DJ also on my Twitter and Instagram, also DJ Babeka Han. Be sure to keep an eye out for episode 5 of the Bastos podcast.
Okay.